Welcome back to another edition of Arizona Wildcats Insiders Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Hutchison, and we have been rolling our all-quarter century team down to the nitty-gritty. We're talking about punters, kickers, quarterbacks, linebackers, running backs, offensive line, receivers, defensive line, tight ends, corners, you name it, head coaches. We've broken it all down. The reason why we started doing that segment is because Arizona was in the middle of its bye week. So it felt like a good idea to start rolling those out and give you guys a little, I don't want to say history lesson, but a little look back at Arizona football over the last quarter century. I know it's been a little bit of an underwhelming quarter century, given that Arizona's below 500 in the last 25 years, but there's been a lot of lows, but there's also been a lot of highs too. Again, you had the Makovic era that completely destroyed the program. Then Mike Stoops and his staff did a great job of building it back up. They had everything working against them, from facilities to recruiting to everything working against them, to the strength of the conference. You're talking about an era where USC, ASU, UCLA, Washington State, Oregon State, Stanford at times, Cal, they were all really freaking good in that era in the middle of that rebuild. But still, Mike Stoops and his staff, they were able to put together a great staff, put together a good football team, and by year 3, get back to a 6-win team. And then 2 years later, by year 5, get back to a bowl game for the first time in 10 years in the desert. Now, like we said, Arizona was in the middle of its bye week. Its bye week has just ended. The team will start to prepare for Colorado. Now, both these two teams are kind of in an interesting situation. Colorado, 3-5. They've had an underwhelming year. A lot of injuries, a lot of poor execution. Just not a very good football team right now, and they're coming off of an extremely embarrassing loss, 43-0 against Utah. Now, Utah's a good football team, but is Utah a 43-point type of offense? No. Colorado's defense is one of the worst in the Big 12. I almost said Pac-12. One of the worst in the Big 12. They gave up nearly 300 yards rushing. They couldn't stop a nosebleed if they wanted to. So Utah took advantage of that. Now Arizona, they're coming off back-to-back losses, 2 straight losses, sitting at 4-3 against BYU, where they were up 24-14 midway through the fourth quarter and saw the game slip away in heartbreaking fashion. And then against Houston, where they had to battle back from a 28-14 deficit in the fourth quarter, tie the game up, only to see Houston slowly bleed the clock, run the ball. Houston ran for 232 yards in that game and kicked the game-winning field goal as time expired. Now, the two teams that Arizona lost to, they're a combined record of 15-1. Both of them are coming off of impressive, dominant wins over ASU and Iowa State. And to be honest, this is a better brand of football than we saw last season out of Arizona. Yes, Brent Brennan and his staff were underwhelming last year, but they changed the staff up. They mixed things up, added talent in the transfer portal, hit on some big-time recruits, and all of a sudden they're 4-3 and in a good position to make a bowl game. Now, again, these two teams, this is a big game for both of them. For Arizona, getting to that 5th win, getting to 5-3 is highly important. You don't want to go to 4-4 and then look at your next 4 games wondering, can you get 2 wins? Can you get to that 6-win mark? For Colorado, if you could get to 4-5 and you look at the rest of your schedule, like, okay, maybe we could sneak 2 more out and salvage a bowl game out of this season, that'd be a highly impressive job by Deion Sanders and his coaching staff. Now, the last time these two teams played, Colorado smacked Arizona at home 34-7. The time before that, Arizona was in the Pac-12, and so was Colorado, and Tyler Loop hit the game-winning field goal. So we've seen some good games, we've seen some blowouts. As we continue along our all-quarter century team, however, as we get back to that, this is the safety part of our segment. And I'm going to be honest, this is one of the weaker positions of the last 25 years. And one guy I left off, and I have to admit, the reason why I did it was because it was just too hard to find stats for him. They have stats listed for his senior season, but he played 4 years, was tremendous, and he definitely would be on this list if I could find it and find some accolades, but it was extremely hard to do, is Darrell Brooks. Darrell Brooks is one of the most underrated and underappreciated safeties in U of A history, so shout out to Darrell Brooks. I'm sorry for the disrespect for not making this list, but it was just too hard to find the backing, to find the meat and the potatoes of Darrell Brooks's career, given the computer era of switching things up, and it was just way too difficult to find those stats for Darrell Brooks. Now, with that being said, our first safety on the list, and I think a sneaky good one that U of A fans probably look at as a hometown kid, and kind of like that Rudy-esque type of player, but he had a much better career than Rudy and was a very good guy, a very good player, and a very good starting safety, is Jared Tevis, who walked onto the program, earned a scholarship, the CDO grad, quickly became one of the staples of the Rich Rodriguez defense. Just hard-nosed, gritty football player that had a knack for being around the football, racked up a crap ton of tackles. You're talking about like 9 fumble recoveries, 7 interceptions. He was a ball hawk, knew how to come up with the big turnovers. Jared Tevis makes the list at number 4 as one of the backups. Because remember, the top 2 are the starters, the 3 and 4 are the backups. So he is a backup safety in this regard. Number 3, one of my personal favorites. Yes, he played corner at times, but switched to safety, played safety in the NFL. And man, he was in a solid era, but if things didn't fall apart for the Mike Stoops era, this guy might be even higher on some lists in terms of all-time lists. And that is Robert Golden. Had a very impressive career at Arizona. Another guy that had a knack for the football, sure tackler, good in coverage, just an all-around complete safety in an era that had a lot of great DBs, a lot of great cornerbacks, and a lot of great safeties during that Mike Stoops era. Number 2, this is a Mike Stoops guy that was only coached for him for a short while due to the fact that Stoops was let go as the head coach. Rich Rodriguez came in. This guy played linebacker for Stoops in his defenses, but moved to safety. And again, I don't know how this guy did not make the NFL. To me, he should have been an NFL safety. He never got a chance. He had a nose for the football, just a knack of finding his way to the ball. Good tackler, good in coverage, and just a ball hawk. And I think that's one of the things you need to be as a safety, is have that nose for the football. This guy had it, and that is Tremathan Bondurant. Bondurant was one of the better safeties, probably the best safety of the Rich Rodriguez era. Just a hard hitter, nose for the football, always came up with big plays. The Washington game in 2014 came up with that one. That one kind of really stands out to me. Came out with the onside kick in that game as well. Anytime Arizona needed a big play from its secondary, Jared Tevis came up with some of them, but Tremathan Bondurant came up with more. 9 interceptions, nine fumble recoveries, and I think about 5 to 6 forced fumbles. The guy was an absolute ball hockey machine. He comes in at number 2. Now, number 1, I might get a little flake for. I might get a little pushback on, and I get it. He's still playing. And some of his stats aren't there because, again, he is in the middle of, I believe, what is his 3rd year with the program, 4th year with the program. So I get it. But highly talented. This guy's going to play in the NFL. In my opinion, he is a first-round draft pick, and nobody has him as that right now. But I think by the end of the season, you go through the combine, he will sneak into that first-round mold, and that is Genesis Smith. Genesis Smith is an absolute ball hockey machine, similar to Tremathan Bondurant, always being around the football, but is really good in coverage, excels in coverage. Very good there. Sure tackler. And Danny Gonzalez's system, the safety plays more of a middle linebacker role, but further back. So you're still the center fielder for the defense, but you also have run protection. If I could talk, run protection assignments, run protection assignments. I can't say the word that I'm thinking of for some god awful reason, but no, tremendous safety. Is still playing right now, number 12, but still, I think he deserves to be on this list because I think he will be on more lists like this. and he's going to go down as one of the better safeties in the last 25 years. In my opinion, the best safety in the last 25 years. And he might even make an all safeties all-time list further down the line. Will he surpass a Chuck Cecil? Probably not. Tony Bowie? Probably not. But could he end up from that 3 to 5 range one day? We'll have to see. Be sure to follow us on Arizona Wildcats on SI. Follow our Twitter account at Arizona Wildcats on SI, or follow me, Troy Hutchison, at THutch1995, and we'll see you next time.